Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. From the deepest jungles to the outmost reaches of space and beyond the veils of death itself, the Bald and Bonkers boys are back for another episode. It's no secret that you won't know what will happen next, but Dakota Franson and Chris Mould promise that all bets are off. Viewer discretion and straitjackets advised. These two idiots live up to the name.
Delay.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
It's something.
Yay!
It's weird that it doesn't do it when I go live.
And it doesn't do it when I'm doing it without you. So I don't know what it is about what we're doing that makes it run slow.
It's her energies.
But we're
We
here.
need a hug.
Can you imagine what would happen if we met in person?
Well, yeah, that needs to happen though.
I think it will happen one day. You know, I honestly think it will happen one day. But the energies that the men in black will be chasing after me and Dakota up the road. Because the amount of strange things that happens on this show. I mean, look at Danny's show. She's always getting like strikes for no apparent reason. You know what I mean? And we're always
Look
getting
at the
technical
people
problems
that
for
she's
no
had
apparent
on.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The energy is sticky sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, yes. And I do apologize for being late. Speaking of UFOs, I actually had a mass sighting in my area this week, so I've been chasing leads.
Wow.
I heard about it. I heard about the mass sighting where you are. I seen it online. I see there's people on TikTok witnessed it.
Yeah, and finally videos are starting to come up about it, and I'm just like, all right. Yeah,
there's been mass sightings in
something.
the UK too. There's been mass sightings in the United Kingdom too. There's been mass sightings everywhere. I think something's got to go down. I really do think something's about to go down.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
No surprise, but I think we should go into introducing our guests tonight. She already seems nervous enough, but don't worry. There's only like major Hollywood executives that like to watch our show from time to time.
You haven't bitten so far. I think I'm safe.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
So anyway, welcome, Melissa. How are you tonight?
I'm great. Actually, I'm just so happy to be here. And I'm just so thrilled that you invited me, really. I was kind of surprised, because I reach out to people all the time to connect and talk about weird things, and most of the time people don't reach back out. So I'm like, okay, God, universe, when it's right, it's right. And so here we are.
Yes. See, I think that there's a reason for everything. And I think you were pulled to us for a destiny. See what I mean? Because you actually found us, was it Danny's channel? You found us through Danny's channel.
Yeah.
And Danny, if you're watching this, amazing channel. Guys, you need to subscribe to Danny's channel because it's absolutely fantastic. The stuff that she talks about, and she had us on as guests, and I was shocked that she was Scottish the first time I met her. So was he.
Yeah.
I know she always had like this ASMR vibe to whenever she did her shows, and all of a sudden she's just coming in hard, and I was like, "Whoa!" Was not ready for this.
Yes. Hi. She's for Glasgow.
I love it. She's so
from
candid.
Glasgow.
Yeah, I love her straight shooting. No holds barred. She's going to tell you the truth, and that is in our world right now. So,
yeah, she's definitely needed it, and she's a really, really good podcast. Honestly, I've been watching her shows lately, and they're really good, especially when she's got Elena Dineno, because Elena Dineno, as everybody knows, is one of the top UFO people, the Galactic Federation, and I think it's fantastic. So I would like to welcome you to the show, and don't be nervous. I know I talk a lot, but Dakota's got a big mute button for me anyway, haven't you, Dakota?
Well, I have a little joke. Like, we have Bald, Bonkers, and then we got Beautiful. So we have 3 B's tonight, see?
Are you calling us ugly?
And so then, we could have Laurel and Hardy, right? But then now we're the
Yeah.
Three Stooges. So if people want to have fun, they keep the right place.
So, Martha, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into this strange field?
Okay, so this all starts early in my life. Totally fascinated with everything spiritual, esoteric, things unexplained. Um, you know, reading books about the angels and just absorbing saints. I was brought up Catholic, so thinking about people's lives, people's stories have always fascinated me. So, kind of bring it up to the now, my angels told me that I was to be on the airwaves. So, being the obedient student that I am, I actually have been working on that for the past couple of years, and then now doing my own little tiny podcast. If you build something, people will come. So, but to bring it back to my early childhood, I always felt different. And I experienced things differently. For example, I'll tell you a little story about how it hit me. I always had a little voice inside of my head.
Yeah.
Okay. And so one day I was going to school and I asked my best friend, I was probably in maybe second grade. And I asked her, I said, my friend's name was Maria. I said, do you hear that little voice, talking to you, guiding you, telling you things to do? And she looked at me with a very blank look on her face. And she said, what voice, Missy? What are you talking about? Everybody called me Missy back then. And I was like, oops, I'm not talking about that anymore. But, I figured out that there was something maybe a little bit different about me, but it didn't stop from interacting, and it was never anything scary. It was loving. It was guiding. It was just always there. So, that was the first. Yeah.
That is interesting you say that, because I've met a lot of different psychics and a lot of people that were actually discussing before the show, and as they were telling me about when they were young, and they were telling me their life stories when they were young, they had this voice that would speak to them. I mean, who do you think that voice was? Do you think that was maybe like an angel that was maybe guiding you in your life?
Do you really want to know who I think it is?
Yeah, please.
I think it's God. I think whatever the creator is of all things. And I'm not a guru. I'm not saying that to say that I am a higher being than anybody else. I think that everybody has that connection, but we are not taught that we do.
Yes.
And I feel like that is my mission, because there was no one there to tell me at an early age, look, that's normal. You can speak to God. You can talk to Jesus. You can speak to the angels. They're there. You might not be able to see them with your physical eyes, but that doesn't mean they don't exist, right? Just because we don't see it in our normal day to day doesn't mean it's not real, and that it does not exist.
Yes, quite. That is true. I mean, I do think everybody in the planet, and there's a lot of people can't understand this, but I think everybody's got like a spirit guide in some form, either an angel or a spirit guide that comes with you, that stays with you from when you're born to when you die. And maybe it's a deal that you've got with them. Maybe when they want to be reborn, you maybe go and help them. Maybe that's how it works. I don't know. We'll never find out until obviously we cross over.
I agree.
But,
I agree with that. The Catholic religion teaches that. I mean, I'm not religious anymore. I'm not affiliated with any religion, but they do teach that we have a guardian angel, from the moment of birth. But I think it's before that we're with them, and then we come down, and that guardian angel is always with us with everything that we do, and there's always a joke. Oh my gosh, my guardian angel must be just holding their eyes, seeing all the stuff we're doing down here, right? So, but yeah, I believe in that too.
I don't know what my guardian angel thinks. He's probably like, my God, this Scottish guy can talk. So I'm going to hand you over to my co-host here.
That would not surprise me. I love how there's certain people that try to say Chris needs subtitles. I've tried that. The subtitles usually break on him.
They don't work. they don't work. There was people that watched Danny's interview with us, and I couldn't help myself. I had to go and read all the comments, and somebody had put, "This guy needs subtitles."
Hmm. They can't spell it right. If they can't understand it, how are they going to spell it right? It's going to come up all
I know.
jumbled. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
So you talked about how in second grade you started asking about how asking others if they had this similar experience. What was it that really made it stick out to you that this could be something else? Not that you're going to be heading to a mental asylum, or maybe you still have those thoughts. I haven't. But
No, I don't. I don't want anybody else to have those either, you know? So I just went along with it because I always felt like it was loving. It was always kind. It was always guiding me, helping me make the right choices or to see things in a different way, to say
Mhm.
things to people that at a young age, I would have no idea what to say, but I always had the right words. And adults would come to me and share stories with me that they should not share with maybe a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old, but yet they would. And somehow I always knew what to say to them. So, yeah.
Mm. That's
Hmm.
interesting. That is interesting. That now I know that you've been talking to our ET friends out there, and the cosmos, as one would say.
Yeah.
When did you first? What was your first ever experience with our little friends? Well, I call them little green friends, but they're big and tall. Some of them are blonde with lovely wavy
Yeah.
hair. I think about that a lot because I'm bald, you know. But
Yeah.
when was the first time you came into contact with the first one?
Okay, so I got to tell you this. When I was very young, I remember going to school and they told us that we were the only life in the universe. And,
Yeah.
and once again, I was a very young girl. And I remember going home and telling my mom, really? You can look out there with all of those stars, all of those planets, and you can actually believe that there's nothing else out there. There's no other life but us. I didn't buy it. So, and I never did, and I never will. So that's my first recollection of just not believing what I was being taught. But to answer your question about my first interaction with um, ETs or higher vibrational beings was when I really started to open up spiritually and learn how to control my empathic nature and my
Yeah.
clairsentience because I would be under spiritual attack because I feel energy so much that
Mhm.
I would feel it and it would scare me because I didn't know how to manage. So after I understood how to start doing that, how to start managing the energy and all of that, and getting grounded and being in my own space and being strong and not afraid, um, I was meditating, and these beings came to me, many beings of light,
Yeah.
and I was out in the cosmos with them, and I became as them, and I knew I was them, and they were me.
Yeah.
That was my family. So that's my first experience. So to me, meditation, things that happen in meditation are just as real as us sitting here tonight,
Yes.
interacting and talking. So people
Yeah.
always say, is that real? What happens in meditation? And yes, it is. It
Yeah.
is real.
A lot of people kind of get their head round about what actually happens when you get into meditation and you get out your body and you start exploring these places like the Akasha Records. And that's an interesting place. Have you ever been to the Akasha Records?
Oh,
Because
yes.
that was Lisa Fry that taught me actually how to go there.
Yeah. I just actually took a Galactic Akashic Records reading class
Yeah.
because always trying to figure out these beings that, you know, actually took me, and to me, I would never have given consent for that. So it's like this quest so I can help others to understand if they have things happen.
Yes.
So I took this class for that specific reason to help people get in touch with their galactic,
Oh yeah.
family or roots or whatever you want to call it. So,
Yeah.
and
It's yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah. It's I must admit it is quite amazing because it's I know people are like, oh, that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. Look, people that's watching this, when you get into this meditation phase and you go to these places, it's very, very real. Because I know that Dakota here, he does it, and he's been taken a few times, with quite a lot actually. And I've only experienced a very, very small part of it. Tell like a lot, like you guys, and it's absolutely amazing some of the stuff you can see. I mean, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts now with the disclosure that's happening right now on the earth? What is your thoughts for that?
I feel like we're behind the times. So, in other words,
Yeah.
what they're sharing with us is kind of like third grade, but yet there's people that just aren't aware. Okay, and I'm not saying that from an egotistical or arrogant place. I'm saying that from my level of consciousness or awareness. Okay, and so everybody right now in the 3D dimension that we're living in is in their own level of consciousness. And now more than ever, it's so apparent that there are many layers just even here in this reality. So that's how I feel. I feel like, oh gosh, like let's just bring out the med beds. We know they have them. Let's just
I'm
bring
looking forward to that.
technology. Let's get on with it. Like I'm so ready to just like shed all of the old story, take off the old coat, really tired of it. Now let's put on the new one and let's move forward,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. That's how I feel. Yeah.
So I wonder if those med beds will have hair rejuvenation.
No, right? Yeah.
That's what he thinks about it. Hair. I'm going to buy him a toupee.
You're one to talk about. You're one to talk.
Oh, they have those now.
There's two left.
Yeah. I mean, if you want hair, look, you can buy anything nowadays. You want hair, just go buy you some, like just go get you some, you can do it.
I think in Dakota's case, his alien body up there, he's tall, he's handsome, he's got blue eyes, and he's got the long locks of. He looks like somebody for like Battlestar Galactica. What is it? What's his name with the blonde hairdo? That's
yeah. I know who you mean. I forgot his name. Yeah.
Starbuck.
Yeah.
That's the
Starbucks.
one. Starbuck was a character in Battlestar Galactica. Come on, Dakota.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
He's young.
Name.
Yeah, I know I'm young, but come on, man.
You are. My gosh, my son is 1 year younger than you, my youngest son. Yeah, because I was watching a podcast with Mr. Rodriguez. Yeah. Yep.
So, can you tell us a wee bit about your mediumship? Can you tell us a wee bit about your mediumship? What can you like? That was weird there because I heard like a voice, somebody say something there. That was quite strange. Did you hear that, Dakota?
Sounded like Melissa has a bit of an echo on her end.
Oh, maybe is it still going on?
Could you tell us a wee bit about your mediumship and what type of spirits that you encounter?
Okay, so when I open up for mediumship, I only work in the light, in beings of light. That is the only area I work in. So I never encounter any other beings when I do mediumship, or hopefully anything else that I do spiritually. And what really opened me up to my mediumship gifts, though, when I look back on my life, in my encounters with paranormal things from an early age, I know that I was a natural born medium. Okay.
Yeah.
But what really brought it on was my dad passed away in 2016. And when he passed away, I was there on the scene. And my mom called me. I ran right up to the house. And I got there. My dad was on the floor. So I immediately started doing CPR on my dad. And I knew if I kept working on him, that there was a chance that paramedics got there that could bring him back. But while I was working on him, I could feel him standing behind me. I knew that his spirit, or whatever it is that runs this vehicle that we're in, was already inside of his body. And we were talking telepathically. So we were having a conversation back and forth. And that is when my mediumship came online, the passing of my dad. And experiencing him, experiencing angels after that, really more so in the physical, hearing them, seeing them. And so then that really brought me back into more of a spiritual awakening and development of my psychic gifts. So ever since then, I have been in like complete study and immersion of being able to, I want to say master for for a word to just say that it's important to master some kind of skill before you share your messages with somebody else. So you
Yeah.
know that you're in touch with that. That's true and right for that person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What what type of like have you ever came across like lost souls that need crossed over?
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, so when I started opening up to all this in meditation, I was actually brought to this courtyard energetically in the spiritual realm. And Archangel Azrael came to me early, and I was like, "Oh no, this is like after my dad passed." I'm like, "You just go away because I've already experienced loss. I'm not dealing with you." Archangel
Yeah.
Azrael, like I pretty much told him to go away, but then I learned, why he came into my life, and I had to work with him. So in this meditational space was a courtyard. It's kind of like a church, and in this space, spirits come, and there's a lot, and sometimes there's just a couple. And I'll just share one little story about we talk about the children and how all these children have been taken and suffered and have
Yeah.
died by these captors. Okay, and so one of the things I had to do was I actually had these children in my space to cross them over. And even when I think about it right now, it was so emotional that
Yeah.
because they were afraid to cross over. And so there are earthbound spirits that need to be crossed over, and I do see
Yeah.
them a lot. And when I'm brought to this space, that's what I have to do. And sometimes they go really quickly. I call their holy guardian angel in, and a lot of
Yeah.
times they'll go without hesitation. I'll just invite them to go to the light. And some stay behind. And I have to talk to them and tell them it's safe to go. You've done nothing wrong. You can't stay in this space. You have to move
Yeah.
on. And so yeah, so that's how I have encountered earthbound, I call them spirits, or spirits that get stuck in the in between.
Yeah. I've heard about that. I mean, it's like I've obviously I did a show last night with my Ghost Squad Scotland channel, and we were actually talking to a woman. She crosses spirits over. She crosses thousands over every week. And how many spirits are actually trapped. But there'll be some spirits there that are waiting on their
Yes.
loved ones. So there'll be like maybe a husband
Mhm.
waiting on his wife.
Yep.
Is maybe just waiting.
Yep.
Maybe she's got to die in maybe 2 years' time, but he'll just wait there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can't force them to cross over.
No,
They're
you
they are
can't.
waiting. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
waiting on. But then there'll be the souls that have maybe religions teach them that what they've done in life, they're going to burn in the pits of hell and stuff like that, and they're terrified
Mhm.
because they're maybe like, if I go through that light, am I going to end up in burning hell because I done such
Right.
and such?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and that's what's so, just think of how damaging that is. I actually encountered a little girl in this space that wouldn't cross over, and I asked her why. She was holding a little teddy bear, and she said, "My mom told me not to leave this place. She was coming to get me." And so I had to explain to her,
oh,
"Mom, your mom is," I could see her mom like in the light. Her mom had already crossed over. And I said, "Your mom is waiting for you. It's safe for you to go." And when the angels came and she saw that her mom was there, she went. But she would not leave this place because the way that they died, the way that she died was very fast, very quick.
yeah,
And so I saw it as like a pioneer time life and
yeah,
crossed in that way. And, she waited there for her mom because her mom told her not to go anywhere, to wait right here for me. And so she stayed in that space. And just to be able to cross a child over like that, I mean, if I do nothing else in my world, in my life to help, I mean, that
yeah,
was big, just everybody can do. It doesn't matter how big it is or how small, we are here to do good things, beautiful things, things of
yeah,
love, kindness, of light, no matter what our level of consciousness is, whether it's helping people just in our world, just in the physical, or if you do have spiritual gifts, that you use those for the highest good of everyone that you meet or encounter.
yeah.
a little bit a few hours ago just to help organize this thing, and you and I seem to have a very similar face to when it comes to how a lot of people don't really want to accept that there can be a very dark side of this. It's not all rainbows and unicorns.
Right.
What would be your thoughts on that?
Okay, so what I would like to say to people about that, Dakota, is it's so important that when somebody shares a story and it doesn't make sense to you or it sounds crazy, that maybe that person is looking for help. Maybe that person has experienced something that they can't explain and quite literally probably scared the bejeepers out of them. So much so that they're just willing to tell somebody, anybody. And if you are that somebody, take them seriously, because honest to God, like, who in their right mind would come out in public like we are right now and share a story about being taken by beings that we perceive not of this dimension or reality? Who would make up? I know there's people that make up stories, like we know that's true, but who would come on a program like this and tell a story of something they experienced just for notoriety? What is, people would find out there's too many people, that are onto the game, and they're gonna figure this person is a charlatan. They're not telling the truth, right?
See, that's interesting, that, because obviously if you'd done this maybe in the early, say, 50s and 60s, you would have probably ended up in a mental asylum. You would have ended, because I know I've got friends that were mediums. I've got really good friends that were mediums, and because they could see spirits in the early 60s, 70s, they were put in mental institutions for years.
Yes.
And they were getting all sorts of weird treatments and stuff, because they were kids, and they were like, I can see an old woman in the corner, I can see a man in the corner.
Yep.
And eventually they had to make up that they didn't exist so that they could get out. That's the only way. But nowadays it's different. Nowadays everything's, because of the internet, I think, too, because of social media, everything's changing. And it's maybe changing for the good. And I think a lot more people need to be more open, because I think there's people out there that have got stories to tell that could change this world.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what, Dakota, you're very young, and I raised a sensitive child. Okay. My son, my youngest, is very, very psychic. And I thank God that he had me as a mom, because if he had somebody else that didn't understand these things, he could have quite literally been put on medications. But I knew what he was experiencing was spiritual. So I just let him be. And I always kept the lines of communication open. And that's, if there's nothing else that anybody takes away from this podcast here with us, with what I have to say, it's that my mission is to help parents, even grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody that has anything to do with these children coming into our world right now, to teach them that they're already spiritual beings, to normalize spiritual experiences, and to let them know that what they experience is not demonic, it's not scary, it's actually what we're all able to do if only we're taught from an early age. So all of the programming that I had, that fear, my grandchildren not have that. The lines of communication are going to be open.
I mean, so obviously there is people out there that are going to say to their children and stuff, see these aliens, they're demonic, they're demons, and they're here to destroy us. These are the people that go to church all the time, and they believe it 100%, and they're going to say, oh, these aliens are no aliens, they're really demons, and they're here to destroy man and stuff. I don't think they're here. No, there's no fear for that. They're here to try and help us, because let's face it, we're not the only life form in the universe.
Right.
There's billions of different life forms in the universe. Some of them might not be intelligent, but some of them are intelligent, and they've been visiting us for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a bit of human history. I think this is the point where human history changes for here.
Yeah. And really, when you think about it, we think life looks like what we're used to seeing here in this reality. But how
Yeah.
do we know what life looks like out in the cosmos? How do we know?
Exactly.
So we only have this Hollywood representation of, oh, it's scary, it's frightening looking, but you know, maybe they think we're frightening looking, those beings out there. We could be monsters to them or scary.
Yeah.
So we have to keep in
See, that's
mind
yeah.
that life,
I,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I will say there is dangerous things out there. I will say there is dangerous things out there that would eat you. And it's like the Son of the Naked Bigfoot in the chat there. It's his dad was a really good friend of yours, and that he would tell us about strange things that lived in the woods and strange things that would kill people. And that's what people have to realize. There's obviously going to be good things out there in the universe, right? But there's
Yes.
going to be things out there that
Mm-hmm.
would eat you if they got
Yeah.
a chance. But we're
Mm-hmm.
lucky because the beings that are visiting us the now are kind of protecting us the now.
Yes.
And that's what people have to realize. It's not just all good in the universe. There's obviously going to be entities out there
Yeah.
that want to eat you, basically, or conquer your worlds and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like the scene in Star Wars when they go to the bar. In that scene, the bar scene in the first Star Wars, all those different
Yeah.
kinds of beings, I look at it like this. Think of the Wild West, right? And some people obeyed the laws and they did good things. It's the same thing out in the cosmos, out in the
Yes.
universe. There's going to be outlaws, there are going to be
Oh yeah.
lawbreakers. Not going to follow the rules or the laws that are created. So simple to figure out that
Mhm.
kind of the same thing, but only out in the universe or universes.
That's actually a really interesting question. It's something that I've never thought. It's actually Pete, Son of the Naked Bigfoot. Do you see that one? Before we get to Dots, where is that? He would actually
About
like
to
to
encounter
encounter,
an alien ghost.
and because they bound to have the same thing on their worlds. They bound to have the afterlife and the same kind of thing.
Every culture has some sort of understanding that there is an afterlife, to my
Yeah.
understanding. So
Yeah, to go back to like the Hollywood movie thing, do you guys remember that? Dakota, you probably don't, but maybe you do, Chris. Enemy Mine, that old movie, Enemy Mine. I think Dennis Quaid was in it, and
I
he
think,
was
yeah,
like he went to another planet or whatever, and they all like there was a universal God or creator,
that's
and they even
yes.
had that God or creator too. So yeah, interesting. Just made me think of that when you said that.
Yeah, I think, like you say, I think the universe is police. Like I think there's the good aliens, like the Federation, like them, for instance, they will protect certain planets that are in like the Federation and stuff. But what everybody's thinking that there's a lot of UFO people out there that think that all aliens that has ever existed are really nice people and they're really friendly. No, you have got life forms out there that don't like us.
Yeah.
But luckily the Earth's been purged of that now. Well,
Right.
hopefully.
Right.
But we are protected
Mhm.
because we have got friends.
Right.
But I will say this, it's something else I wanted to point out to you, and you get this a lot in internet communities out there, and you get people that fake stuff.
Yeah.
And you get people that are like, oh, the Greys. And I know some of the Greys are okay, but the Greys are lovely beings, and they're here to help us, here to save us, and they're just basically putting it all out there and deliberately faking like paranormal stuff and deliberately faking like UFO stuff,
Yeah.
just to make money and just to make fame. Like, what was it? Pete there said in the chat about Zach Bagans, for instance. He's one of the biggest kind of like fakers out there.
oh yeah,
Kind of thing. Oh, he's one of the top fakers in the paranormal community. That's a thing too. That is definitely a thing too, which destroys the paranormal community. It's fakers.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered like a fake psychic in your life? I've encountered a
No,
few.
thankfully I have not. So I really haven't, though not personally, but growing up, there was some shady people, that were kind of out there, when the internet first started coming about, and there were people kind of scamming like that, but I never personally interacted with them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So jumping onto the ET thing again. Have you who have you met in the Galactic Federation? What
Okay.
entities have you met up there?
Okay, so I have some Lyran guides, and because that is some of my galactic team, which I also met in a channeling class that came in for me. A lot of my guides have really names connected to divine or creator God. A lot of that in there, so that the higher beings always, and like I was telling you in the little green room before we came on, I had an Andromedan being come in for me through a divine doorway, which I didn't know what it was at the time. But the being came in through it. There was dark around it, but then when he opened the door, it was all light. And he told me his name, and his name was Soth, and he was a guide of mine working with me, and Andromedan. So I have a lot of star family, and during meditation one time, my body just my astral body left, my physical body, and I was way out in the cosmos, just like boom, and I heard Orion. Hello, I'm Orion. I am your guide. And so I'm out there in the cosmos, and Orion pops in, clairaudient as a guide. So a lot of galactics, angelics, very, very close to angelic presences. I had an experience with my first angel channeling class, and I was actually brought with the angels to an assembly, and it looked like, you know how you see all the levels of angels, and down below is like this bright shining light that we would perceive as God or creator or source. And so I was in this assembly, and I remember standing there, and I'm shoulder to shoulder with all of these angels, and I felt their presence, like physically, like their body, my body. And then the next thing I know, my physical feeling went away, and I was still me, but I was part of everything that was there, that oneness and that universal love. So they let me experience that. And that was, oh my gosh, I wish I could just let everybody experience what oneness feels like, and how powerful we are, and how much we really are, even though we experience separateness in these physical bodies. If we only realize that we really are all one family. And when we go back to where we came from, because we're not from here, actually look in the mirror, there's an alien, right? So when we go back to where we came from, then we will know that we will experience that oneness again, that beautiful thing that we all miss while we're here.
That's so true. That, I mean, Dakota, you've got a lot of stuff to do with our friends up there. I mean, what's your thoughts on this, Dakota?
Chris, I had 3 kids with an alien. What are you talking? Of course, I asked them up.
I did bring it up. Bring it up.
No, I completely understand where everybody's coming from. I noticed that there's a shift that right now, even psychology facilities and mental health asylums are actually reaching out because they think they got ghosts. And that's one of the places where you think there's a ghost. Okay, here's a pill. Here's a pill.
I know that.
They're even like the pills aren't working.
Right.
And I mean, going back to how we were all talking about, there's already this stigma when it comes to it. I mean, I go to tell some of my stories. Chris has done this to me, and there's no indication of any evil intent. It literally being come down and literally saving someone's life, and there's like, oh, it's probably demonic. You need an exorcism. It saved someone's life. When do you ever hear about a demonic being saving someone's life?
Right.
Usually they don't care.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I love how you brought in like mental institutions, and how we're getting to the point where they're not going to be able to sweep all of this under the rug anymore, because in other cultures, spiritual awakening is understood and celebrated. So when someone is coming online and they're becoming spiritually aware, they're not put in an institution or a mental hospital. They're actually looked at as a whole person having an experience in this physical body, a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in this physical body. And there's actually shamans, medicine people, spiritual people to help them understand what they're experiencing. We need to start doing that.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it is true, but it is true when it comes to like the psychiatric hospitals. As I told you at the start of the show, I do know people that were put in them for just
Yeah.
saying. But it makes you wonder how many undiagnosed souls
Yeah.
that could see the dead
Yes.
and they were basically lobotomized because
Yeah.
of what they believed in.
Absolutely.
Because let's face it, it happened. It happened in the United States. It happened in the UK. People were lobotomized because they said they could see dead
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So it makes you
Oh.
wonder, what about the people that could see extraterrestrials? Maybe in the 1940s, 1950s, it says, "Oh, there's a being comes into my room and he tells me all this kind of stuff," and then their families right, take him to a mental asylum.
Yeah, I know. It's so
Yeah.
scary. And you do have to be careful who you share things with, because even now, they'll just take you off to the doctor and the doctor's just going to give people a pill, and that doesn't solve anything, And not that people, I'm not saying that there's not a place for psychologists or psychiatrists. We all know that there's a place for these doctors and people that have studied the mind, but there's so much you don't know, because you can't put the human brain inside of just one little box. It's just too complicated. There's too much. And we've only even scratched the tip of the iceberg with what this brain that we have inside of our heads can do, right?
Yeah. It's quite interesting because I was reading an article about scientists that actually performed it was in a dying patient, and they noticed that the brain kept running for a long time after death.
Yeah.
And nobody knows until it's you, until it happens to you. People in the chat are here. Nobody knows fully what happens when you die. I mean, what's your take on what happens in the final stages?
I'm so glad you asked me this, because I was actually contemplating this before we even came together here today. So I think that we have everything backwards, okay? So we look at it like this is it, and then we die. It's just the opposite. This is not it, and then we live again, because this is just like a little blip on the radar, and we're actually here. Hello, everybody. Hear these words. We're actually here to have some fun, to be happy, even through all of the things that we have to experience in this life. So my thing is, the older I get, it's like, look, let's have some fun. Let's not take things so seriously, and really enjoy life. It's not just about working all the time, and being so, oh, I'm so important. I have this really big job and I'm making all this money. Big deal. You can't take it with you. You can't take that with you. What are you taking with you? You're taking all of this that we're sharing here tonight. We're taking love. We're taking light. That's all we're bringing with us when whoever is running this operation goes back. So, yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, it's like
reverse.
It's like
reverse.
Yeah, it's like death. It's like death is life and life is death. It's like you come here, you learn, you die. You can't take, if you're a trillionaire, it doesn't matter how rich you are and how much gold you've got and how many diamonds you've got. You can't take them. When you die, you cannot take them
That's right.
back with you. So you're actually better living life and learning stuff and learning how to maybe play musical instruments, or maybe learning to write poetry or something like that. Maybe learning something. So as when you die, you can take that back to wherever you come from, share it with everybody. And then you never know, you might be like, do you want to go back again? Do you want to be a woman this time? Do you want to do this? Do you do that? You don't know.
Right.
And I think it's all about discovery. It is. It's all about discovery.
Yeah, why else will we come here, right? I mean, it's not really a pleasant place all the time. Just think how brave we were to come here. And I look at I have twin granddaughters, and I look at them and I'm just so thankful. I'm like, wow, they were brave enough to come in right now. These girls are something else. And I think that's how we should look at all of these children coming in right now. Like, wow, you are something else. And what are you going to teach us? What are we going to learn from you? And what wisdom can we share with you to make you hit the ground running and just go with it,
Yeah. It's like I've spoke to a few mediums and that, and they've actually, when they've been speaking to like the higher energies, like maybe the angels or the guides and stuff like that, and they've told them, they've said Earth is one of the most difficult places to be
Yes.
born.
Yeah.
It's one of the most sought after places to be born, but it's one of the most difficult places to be born. You can be born anywhere else in the universe,
Yeah.
but Earth's like a special place where
Yeah.
the humans are just mad and they get
Mhm.
we're,
Yeah.
we're just mad
Yep.
because you think about the extraterrestrials or the interdimensional beings out there,
Mhm.
like maybe the ones that crashed at Roswell or whoever they were that were meant to be interdimensional.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder what they think of us. I mean, they must look at us and think, "Oh my God, look
Yeah.
at them."
Well,
Yeah.
and so, what's so interesting about that is we don't even know how powerful we are. And I feel like when humanity realizes how powerful we are just in our own power, in our own energy, in our own connection to where it is that we do originate from, because we're always connected to that. And then we unite. I always say, I got a mantra, I am uniting my light with those who wish to heal our world. And so that is what I feel humanity has to do. We have to unite our light because we are light.
Yes,
And it doesn't matter if you're looking at the homeless man on the street or if you're looking at somebody in a high place, they have that light too, and
yes,
it's important that we acknowledge that light within every person.
yeah. Everybody here, everybody on this planet at this very moment is here for a reason.
Yeah.
Everyone's here to experience something. If you're a homeless man, you're here to experience that life.
Mhm.
If you're a soldier killing people, I know it's bad, but you're here to experience that.
Mhm.
If you're a pilot or you're a UFO guy that's trying to unlock the mankind's great secret, I mean, that's what you're here
Mhm.
to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, I find it amazing. I mean, obviously nobody knows until it's their time's up. But have you ever encountered obviously the interdimensional beings? Because angels, obviously, they'll be able to they go anywhere really they want. But what about interdimensional beings?
Yes, I have, and I have a theory about that. So on
Yeah.
December 24th, 2019, I had an experience that literally changed my life, changed my level of consciousness. And I was
Mhm.
listening to a podcast from a SETI Ranch, James Gilliand. And so I have a theory. So these phones, like we have these towers like 4G, 5G, we
Mhm.
going up. So we know that in dimensions we 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D. So I feel like the frequencies kind of match. And with these devices we have, these beings from other dimensions can travel in through these Gs.
Yes.
Okay. So I was listening through my cell phone and it sounded something straight out of Star Wars. I had just fallen asleep, and then I heard this noise like a lightsaber opening up. And I looked out of the corner of my eye, and there's a dark being standing next to my bed. And everything in me wanted to run for dear life and just get away.
Yeah.
Okay, but there was nothing I could do. And I heard clairaudiently, relax. And everything in me said, I don't want to relax. Like, I don't want, you're not supposed to be here. And at that moment, I was swept out of my bed, out of my room. And I could feel my dog that was in my bed with me, my little French bulldog, and she
Mhm.
was rolling too because it was such force. And I was taken full body that time. And when I came back, it was Christmas morning, and I had to get up and face Christmas Day. So imagine being taken on Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve morning, and I have
Yeah.
to act normal for the rest of the day. And I'm laying there in my bed like, oh my gosh, I don't feel good. What really just happened? Am I crazy? Did this really
Yeah.
happen? Yeah, yeah.
That's that's
Mhm.
amazing.
Been
That
there.
Dakota.
Nope. Been there. I had a visitation on Valentine's Day of all days, and
Oh,
the I'll just say this: people could tell that I was out of it. It's like someone had it. Oh, they would just look at me like somebody had a good Valentine's. It's
yeah.
like it was out of this world.
Yeah,
The,
yeah.
honestly, the level of experience is getting to be so unreal, and kind of bouncing back to the kids coming into the world right now.
Yeah.
They got to be slightly psychotic, all things considered. And I'm saying that being that I actually have a niece on the way this December, And she actually paid me a visit before, shortly about 2 months in, when my sister was pregnant, and told me that she was going to be born a girl, about how big she was going to be, and even what name that my sister was going to call her. And naturally, my sister, not wanting to say that I was right, denied it. Then the appointment came to where they could actually have the ultrasound and look and see if it's a boy or girl. Next thing I know, next time I see her, she's like, "Before I tell you anything, shut up and let me finish." I mean, right then, I was like, "Oh, I was right."
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that kid's gonna be something else. Exactly what? I don't know, and I know her mother's not ready for it.
Yeah. Kids are special. I just want to say, you see this painting right behind me?
Yes.
I do these paintings for moms pregnant with the babies in the tummy, and it's intuitive. So I meditate and I let the angels guide me for the colors, everything on the canvas. Not a brush hits the canvas. This was for my great nephew, and he is going to be something amazing. The angel that appeared on this canvas is something completely out of this world. And there's actually like little samurai writing, like in the corners. You can't see the from here, but these kids, my granddaughters, especially, they already visit me in the form of their higher selves, and I know if something's not going right because they show up and they know I can see them. So call me crazy, I don't care. That's my level of consciousness. That's my reality.
See, that it's quite weird because before we started the show tonight, I was drawn to that picture. I was drawn to that picture. I was looking at it.
Want me to show it to you close up?
Aye, please. I'll probably turn into something and run away through the woods or something.
Okay, so as you can see,
That's beautiful.
not a brush hits the canvas at all. Not a paintbrush. It's just intuitive art. I'm trying to get it to go straight. But you can see like little samurai writing on the what would be left, just on my left side, and you can see the wings came. Halo. Can you see it? And so
That is beautiful.
I do these paintings for people. And then when I first started, I have one right here too. It's called Into the Eyes of Michael. And so I meditated and I had to go out and take care of my horses. When I came back in, you're looking into the eyes of Michael, not a brush hit.
Wow.
And there's a
Nice.
sword in the center of his eyes. And as you go down the canvas, it's like a totem. You see the being.
Yeah.
And that's when I learned angels are galactic in a way. For me, that's how they appear. So they are angelic, but there is a galactic element to them.
See, what do angels actually look like for people that have never witnessed them? Because everybody thinks of them as having halos above their heads and what you call it, beautiful wings. And do they actually look like that, or do they just look like me and you?
Okay, here's the thing. Angels look like many different things. Angels can appear like we see them in artwork as these really big beings with big wings. I had a vision of an angel that's like, I have another drawing over here. I can't show it to you, but it's in my art. Well, actually, you can see it. It's like the infinity sign. It's over here. And there's like little bristles that come out of it. And that's an angel of a certain court, a certain higher order of angels. So there's like different layers of angels. So there's cherubs, there's principalities, there's all different kinds of angels, and they all look different. Kind of like I'm hearing Ezekiel, like in the wheel, like in the wheel. Well, angels can appear like that, like spinning wheels, like of moving parts. So but when I saw my first angel, it was full body, like you would see in artwork, and it was huge. We had like a game room, and it was like hovering. It was like floating across the doorway, and there was a pool table, and it just kind of floated across. And I was like, "What?" And I walked in, and when I went into the room, it just kind of turned and looked at me, and it just kind of went out and just faded away. So that was Archangel Gabriel. I was told there that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can appear all different ways to people.
Yeah, because obviously our extraterrestrial friends, they'll appear to them as maybe like what they're like, because they've obviously got their own religion too.
Mm-hmm.
And so how many billions of races out in the cosmos,
Yep.
these angels will appear as what they look like. So basically they can appear as anything they want, really.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. Even an animal, like they could appear in somebody's life as an animal, like just show up. I mean, you hear stories of people being saved, an animal would just show up, a dog.
Yes.
I mean, just so many ways angels can show up in the physical. So
Yeah. I've heard about that, where people have been saved by like dogs and stuff like that. They've come out of nowhere, and then the people have turned around and the dog's gone. They
Yep.
don't know where it's went.
Yep.
And it's the same. There's horses. It's happened with horses a few times, because I know that horses have saved a lot of people's lives.
Yep.
They've maybe seen them. They've been stuck in like sand and that, and sinky sand, and it's actually happened. As you can look it up, and a horse has come along and it's pulled them out, and then
Yes.
they've turned around and the horse is gone. It's nowhere to be seen.
Yep.
And it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what it's like for an extraterrestrial friend. So they see. I think they've got they're more open. They're more open than we are. Obviously. We're obviously just a young days, right? They're millions and billions of years more advanced,
Mhm.
and they understand the spirit model more than
Mhm.
we do.
Yep.
They really do.
I do
Go on.
agree. I could talk all. I have so many stories. When I first realized I was an animal communicator, it was with my horse. Um, I tested out my theory that my horse was actually telepathically communicating with me, and I would always map out my route that I would ride my trails on. And right
Mhm.
before I got like where I had thought I was going, I changed the course, and I could actually hear the horse like he stopped and questioned me. He's like, "What do you mean? We're going this way?" And I'm like, "No, we're going this way." So that's when I knew I was really communicating with my horse. I was probably 14 at the time. Yeah.
When was the last time you seen an angel?
Let me see. So, well, I see them all the time in my paintings.
Mhm.
I see them clairvoyantly when I read for people. So
Yeah.
every day I can see them. So if I'm doing a reading for somebody and an angel will come in, I'll know who it is, and I'll say Archangel Michael is with you, or Archangel Raphael is here,
Mhm.
or Angel Gabriel, or whoever is
Yeah.
their angel. And sometimes it's their guardian angel, and I see them just like you would see traditional, paintings of angels.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, they're like the galactics, they're stunningly beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. I've met people that work in like hospices,
Mm.
and they've experienced weird things. They've experienced maybe there's a patient dying, man or woman dying, and they know when there's spirits in the room, but it all changes when like something else comes. It's like something angelic comes into the room to like maybe take that soul to the next world.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any like hanging about in like hospitals or hospices or places like that?
I'll give you a story. Okay, so a lot of
Right.
times I won't see them, but I know they're
Mm.
there and I feel them. So if I go to a funeral, I know that church or wherever I am is full of
Mhm.
angels. So there's a vibration and a frequency that you feel like it's like electric in your skin, kind of feels tingly. And galactic feels
Mhm.
that same feeling too. So when the galactics are close, when you're used to sensing an energy, you'll feel them that way. You'll feel like you're buzzing, like kind of vibrating energy in your body.
Yeah.
Your
Oh, yeah.
on your arms kind of stick up like that, and it's warm. You can feel very hot. Yeah, yeah. So I don't see them all the time, or I don't actually like see them all the time, with my physical eyes, but I know they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as I must admit, it's very interesting, angels. I mean, I had an experience which I told Dakota about years ago when I can remember my birth. And
Yeah.
it was weird because Danny, when we had her on the show, actually told into Dakota, she had this exact same experience. I could remember being born. And I always wondered when I was walking down that hall or whatever that tunnel of light was, I was wondering, there was beings beside me and they were just like white. It makes me wonder if they were either guardian angels or they were beings, like angel beings.
I feel like when I
Yeah.
sense into this, when you tell me this, it feels like Jesus was there and an angel, because that's what I see clairvoyant. So I don't know how you feel about Jesus, but Jesus is a very higher. Jesus to me is an ascended master. Okay, so
Yes.
he came to teach the world how to be higher vibrational beings. Okay,
Yes.
that was hijacked, taken away, and then we were to worship. But that wasn't why he was here. He was here to teach us that that we could do great things just like him, or he was going to do no greater things than we can do. So I feel like that's what Jesus was teaching, and that was kind of taken away, you know. So, but that's what I see when you bring that when you told me the story, because when people share, I see what happens. Like when you tell us,
It's very interesting that your microphones went really weird.
did it
It's been doing that for a little bit now.
really?
Yeah, it's been gradually getting worse and worse and worse. But when you started bringing up like frequencies and talking about higher beings, it started to get like more, didn't it, Dakota? It started to get in there. I quite find it interesting with frequencies because obviously we've got the CE5 tones and how that can like set some people off, and you've got the frequencies seem to play a key on Earth.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's talk about how frequencies can make power, electricity. There's talk about frequencies can heal people in these,
Yes.
like what are they called again? These pods. What are they called? The pods that are meant to be
The
getting.
healing beds, the med beds.
Yes, the med beds, because it's like a frequency that heals you, and I think the frequency is everywhere in the universe, and if people could just harness it correctly, it could change everything
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I
Absolutely.
totally agree. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
So, Dakota, would you like to?
Like I said, I do find it funny that at least on my end, both of your mics would just start muffling themselves
Yeah.
seemingly at random. And that's no stranger to this show. But
Mhm.
being that we are getting close to the end of the hour, what would be your recommendation for people who are just starting to realize they may have some sort of ability or they have some sort of connection, especially with everything going on? It's no secret that we're going to start seeing more and more people wake up. And
Right.
probably going to be looking for shows like this to get some sort
Right.
of idea of what to do.
Yes. And thank you so much for doing this. Once again, it's amazing. You know, I was born for this time. I know it with every fiber of my being. Like, this is my jam, you know, like helping people, sharing, doing things like this. And I would say to anybody that's having some weird things going on, they don't understand or they're questioning things, I say, good for you. You're starting to question things. But understand that you are not alone, that there are people that will listen to you. There are people that will love you. There are people that want to understand you, even if they don't understand what you're going through. And I feel like I'm in the presence of those people right now. And I'm one of them too. So, yeah, that's what you need to know.
So, Melissa, can you tell us a little bit about where we can find you and where people can find you if they want to contact you?
Yeah. My website is whisperingwindpsychiccowgirl.com. And if you type in Reverend Melissa Kennedy, that'll come up too, and you can find me. And I work with people to develop their spiritual abilities, their psychic abilities. You know, I'm here to give you the keys to your own kingdom. I'm not your guru. I'm not here to tell you everything that you need to know, because your journey is your journey. Your walk is your walk. I'm here to guide people.
Yes.
I'm not here to judge. I'm just being. I am being who I am blessed to be right now in this
Yeah.
frame that we live in. So that's my message. Don't feel like you're alone. You're never alone. There are people that are experiencing what you're experiencing, and
Mhm.
they're here. Just connect, reach out. Reach out. My email is on my website. I look for people to share their stories all the time because I feel like in the days of old, what did people do? They did what we're doing right now around a fire. They shared their hearts, their stories, and they connected. And I feel like once we get back into that sharing of our stories and connecting in a new way like we're doing now, that's when we get to those higher levels together.
Yeah. Well, I would like to thank you for coming to the show, and hopefully one day we can get you back again.
Oh, I'd
And
love to.
maybe once there's more ET reveals, and maybe they're here, and we can maybe get you back to see what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah.
But Dakota, would you like to say anything before the end of the show, my friend?
I will say this: Melissa's actually joining us on the Bald and Bonkers TV network. I started getting her stuff set up on there.
Oh wow! Yay!
Yeah, so you're in the rotation. Just it kind of randomizes itself. So if you don't see yourself right away, just give it a little bit.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. And it was divine intervention because I've been looking for people to share my story with that would understand, and it would be a good platform to be on. And this was it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm going to look forward to watching you in the TV network now. There we go. So everybody, remember, tune in, subscribe, share, and like. Check out all our links, and give us some love. Give us some support. And thank you very much, Melissa, for coming. And Dakota, would you like to say anything before we go?
No, just as always, stay safe. Watch the skies if you have a decent weather, because clearly something's big is about to happen. Those you expect.
Wow, that's a whole other topic, like sky. Like we could just you could just do podcasts about that all the time. What's up there? What we're
my
seeing.
God.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, no. And for the people that are expecting an update on the mass sighting I had in my backyard, it's still an active investigation. I'm now getting photos and videos to start looking at. So I'll have something very soon. Just sit back. I want to make sure I'm doing this right.
It's going to get worse. They're going to keep showing themselves until they land outside your house one day and ask to come in and have a cup of tea or something.
When they go to do that, I have to try to figure out how to explain to my family why the aliens coming out of a spaceship look like me. Like, well, Mom, that's your grandkids.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God.
Hilarious.
Oh my God. I just hope you don't need to pay any child support tax on that, But
yeah, right.
And they don't have that up there, is my understanding. No, I'm good. No.
That's all right. You only owe them about $500,000 or something like that. It'll be fine.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh God. Right. Catch you later, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow night for another live.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you see Bald and Bonkers for even more insanity. Be sure to spread the love to the Bald and Bonkers boys' other endeavors. And a special thank you to our audience, guests, and everyone else who helps make this crazy ride happen. Amazing things are ahead. Learn more by visiting www.baldandbonkers.net. See you next time.